In response to your question, are you happy when you see yourself? I usually would make a video that would be off the cuff, but this time I'm going to tell something that's pretty personal about myself, and I didn't think I could do it without making a script. So here goes. I've written this out and I'm going to read it. I am happy when I see myself, and if I'm not, I quickly make changes to rectify my wandering off the path that I have made for myself. I take any unhappiness I feel as an opportunity to ask myself, are you still on the path to being the best Bonnie that you can be? If the answer is no, I sit down with my plan and sometimes my significant other and talk about getting back into that zone so that I can ultimately say at the end of my life that I had the best life that I was capable of. However, it was not always this way. I spent all my teenage years depressed and most of my 20s that way too. But it all changed one day when, after being dumped by someone that I really thought was the one and having a really bad cold on top of it, my girlfriend Annie came by with some chicken soup, and after listening to me for about 30 minutes, finally said, "Okay, enough already with your whining. I bet you can't name 5 things about him that you will miss." To which I said, "I can name 10. And I started to rattle them off. At 15, she stopped me and said, Okay, you're right, he's the one, and you'll never find another one since it's over with him," which pretty much confirmed all my self-pitying that I had been doing up till then. So that night, after she left, I couldn't stop myself. I wrote all night until I fell asleep, and in the morning I started again, writing a list of all the things that were required for the perfect man. When I got done, I had 72 things on the list. There were things like, is intelligent, articulates feelings instead of holding them inside, reads for pleasure, and other things that are important to me personally. But then, after I'd done all that, and I couldn't think of anything more, I asked myself, what makes the perfect woman? Because wouldn't my perfect man want a woman perfect for him? And it was then that I realized that the only thing that I had put on the list for what makes a perfect man that had to be on either list, all else was subject to change and irrelevant if this one thing was not there, and that was, is capable of making his or her dreams come true. And then I asked myself if that was true of me, and the answer was no. So I decided that day that that's what I would do. I would make myself into a person who was capable of making my dreams come true. I've had a lot of setbacks on the way, but I keep dusting myself off and starting again. I've been able to achieve most of the things that I dreamed of when I was a kid. I grew up welfare poor, so most of these things are things like home ownership and financial security, self-employed with a successful business, but it's also things like living without fear, having loving people around me who encourage me to be the best that I can be, learning to laugh things off instead of taking them so seriously, or taking them seriously for the fun of taking them seriously, but then leaving them behind when they stop serving the higher goal of helping me be the best that I can be, being generous with my smiles and compliments to others, and taking time to help others who are seriously interested in making a better life for themselves rather than focusing on the opportunities to be miserable. And always, when in doubt about which course of action to take, asking myself if it hits my goals. So what I would say to anyone that doesn't like what they see in the mirror is start with a list of what would make a perfect you, and then start tackling the goals one by one, starting with the ones that will create a stable base for you to achieve the rest. And when you don't know what to do next, sit down with your list again and break it down some more. As the famous Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu said, every journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. Thanks again for making a great video.